Welcome, deep divers. Today, we're really diving into something quite foundational. It's a philosophical text, Swami Vivekananda's The Vedanta Philosophy. This was an address he actually gave at Harvard University way back in 1896.
Yeah, quite a moment, introducing this ancient Indian wisdom to a Western academic setting.
Right. So our mission, really, is to distill the core ideas of Vedanta, looking at it through Vivekananda's explanation.
Makes sense.
We'll touch on the history, the key concepts, and maybe some surprising connections to modern thinking. I think of it as a shortcut, to understanding this really profound system.
And it's fascinating context, isn't it? Vivekananda's role there, C.C. Everett, who introduced him, called him a missionary from India to America.
Right.
Said his explanations won general interest and admiration. Everett even drew this powerful parallel. He mentioned Hegel saying Spinozism is the start of all philosophizing,
Okay.
but then argued that this could be said even more emphatically of Vedanta. It really highlights a difference, doesn't it? The West often focuses on the manifold, all the separate things. Vedanta pushes us towards seeing the one in which the manifold exists, finding that unity.
Building on that, let's really get into the core of Vedanta. The word itself, Vedanta, literally means the end of the Vedas. Now, in India, when people talk about the Vedas, they often mean the Vedanta part, specifically the Upanishads.
That's key. These aren't just hymns or rituals, which is maybe the Western association sometimes.
Exactly. We're talking the deep philosophical layer. They call them shrutis, that which is heard, like divinely revealed.
And it's important for you, the listener, to grasp that Vedanta isn't just one single thing. It actually covers all the various sects that now exist in India.
Right, different schools of thought.
Yeah, from dualistic views, Dvaita, to non-dualistic ones, Advaita. And Vivekananda saw these as, progressive stages.
Progressive steps on a path.
Precisely. And basically all orthodox Indian philosophies, whatever their label, they build on Vedanta as their foundation.
Okay, so even with those different schools, there are some core agreements.
Absolutely. Three main points all Vedantists generally accept: belief in God, belief in the Vedas as revealed scripture, and belief in cycles.
Cycles. Let's unpack that a bit. What does that mean in this context?
It's this grand cosmological picture. Imagine all matter starting as this subtle primal stuff called akasha, and all force starting as a primal force, prana.
Prana and akasha.
Right. Prana acts on akasha, and that projects the universe. It evolves, from subtle, motionless states into the grosser forms we see: plants, animals, people, stars.
The whole manifest world.
A whole thing. And then after vast stretches of time, it reverses. Everything involutes, goes back into akasha and prana.
And then
a new cycle begins. It's not a one-off creation. It's this eternal rhythm. Manifestation, dissolution, manifestation.
That's a huge concept. So how do we fit into this? How do we perceive this cycling reality?
Well, all Vedantists generally use a psychological framework from the Sankhya tradition to explain perception. Think about how you see something.
Okay.
Your eyes are the instruments, obviously. Behind them, the indriya, the actual organ, like the optic nerve.
Got it.
But that's not enough. Your mind, the manas, has to connect to the organ. Then the sensation goes to the buddhi, the intellect, which sort of reacts and determines.
Right.
Only then does the external world flash into your awareness, along with that sense of I, your ego.
So it's quite a process, not just direct seeing.
Exactly. And even those mental states, they need a stable background. They get projected onto something considered stationary relative to the body and mind, the soul, the purusha, or the Atman.
The witness.
The witness, yeah. It implies our true self might be beyond all this mental activity, just observing it.
Okay, now here's where things take a really interesting turn, right? This is where Vedanta diverges sharply from Sankhya.
Precisely. Sankhya says the soul and nature are eternally separate. Two different things.
But Vedantists
say no. They assert that this soul and this nature are one.
Fundamentally one.
Fundamentally one. Even the dualistic Vedantists, they say God is both the efficient cause, the maker, and the material cause, the stuff. Nature and souls are like God's body. Distinct maybe in appearance, but part of the divine, unfolding in those cycles.
Let's focus in on the non-dualistic view then. Advaita Vedanta. This is linked with Shankaracharya.
That's right. Advaita builds entirely on the Upanishads, and their central question is incredibly profound.
Which is?
Just as by the knowledge of one lump of clay, we have the knowledge of all the clay in the universe, so what is that? Knowing which, we know everything in the universe.
Wow. Seeking the ultimate substance or reality.
Exactly. They generalize everything, the whole universe, into one being manifesting itself in all these various forms. Nature is God. Sat, or being, becomes everything.
But that raises a big question, doesn't it?
Mm.
If God or Sat is unchanging, how can it become this changing temporary world?
The classic problem of pantheism, yeah. Advaita's answer is the concept of Vivartavada, apparent manifestation. God is the material cause, but only apparently.
Apparently. How does that work?
The famous illustration is the rope and the snake. You see a rope in the dark, you mistake it for a snake.
Right.
The rope appears as a snake, but it hasn't actually changed into one. Its reality is still rope.
I see.
Similarly, the universe is that unchanging being, fundamentally. All the changes we perceive, they're just apparent. They're caused by our limited perception through desha, kala, nimitta, space, time, causation.
Or name and form, nama and rupa.
Exactly. Name and form are what make the one appear as many.
So this brings us to Maya. This is a really central, maybe misunderstood concept.
Definitely central, and yeah, often misunderstood. Vivekananda says Maya is not absolute zero nor non-existence. It's also not quite existence as we know it.
So, what is it?
He describes it as neither existence nor non-existence, or anirvachanya, inexpressible.
Inexpressible. Okay.
Think of it like this. Maya is the power that gives everything its name and form, its apparent separateness, while Brahman, God, is the underlying substance, the reality.
If from this Advaita perspective, my sense of being an individual soul, separate from you, separate from the world, that's created by Maya.
That's the idea. It doesn't truly exist as a separate thing. The perception of duality, seeing things as separate, is considered the root cause of evil, of suffering, of misery.
Because it's an illusion.
Because it cuts us off from the reality of oneness. Vivekananda quotes the Upanishads. Where one hears another, one sees another, that is small. Where one does not see another, where one does not hear another, that is the greatest, that is God. In that greatest is perfect happiness. In small things, there is no happiness.
So transcending that illusion of separateness is the path to happiness.
That's the core insight, yes. And this directly shapes Advaita ethics.
How so?
Well, if the universe is one, if everyone is fundamentally that same being, then do not injure another, love everyone as your own self because the whole universe is one.
Makes sense. Hurting someone else is, in a way, hurting yourself.
Exactly. I am injuring myself, as Vivekananda puts it. This leads to self-abnegation, not self-denial in a negative way, but giving up that small, separate, personalized self that causes all the conflict, the hatred, the jealousy.
And the goal of this is?
The ultimate goal is Jivan Mukti, living freedom, liberation while still in the body.
What's that like?
It's when the veil of ignorance, Maya, falls away. You feel one with everything. The phenomenal world, the world of separate things, might even disappear for a time.
Wow.
But then it returns. But now you see it differently. You see it as a world of Sat, Chit, Ananda, existence absolute, knowledge absolute, bliss absolute.
So the world is still there, but your perception is transformed.
Precisely. He uses the analogy of a mirage. Once you know it's a mirage, you might still see the shimmering image, but you're not fooled into thinking it's water anymore. The delusion is gone.
That's a powerful image. Okay, so we've covered some heavy philosophical ground. What about the practical side? Vivekananda had a Q&A after his Harvard talk, right?
He did, and it gives fascinating insights into how people grappled with these ideas. He mentioned how philosophical thought was alive in India, even among peasants who couldn't read or write.
Really? Discussing Maya and Jiva.
Apparently, yes. Very fond of discussing it, he said. A contrast to maybe Western laborers talking politics rather than metaphysics.
Interesting cultural difference. And he talked about orthodoxy.
Yeah, he clarified that in India, orthodoxy was mainly about following certain social or caste rules. Belief-wise, you could follow any system. There was no single organized church dictating belief.
A kind of inherent pluralism.
Very much so.
What about influences? Did Vedanta affect Greek thought?
Vivekananda thought it very probable it influenced the Stoics, maybe via Alexandria, and he speculated Pythagoras might have been influenced by Sankhya, connections across cultures.
Okay, another big question, especially then. How does this mesh with Western science? Is there conflict?
Vivekananda was emphatic. No antagonism at all. We are in harmony with it. He saw the Vedantic ideas of evolution, akasha, and prana evolving into the universe as compatible with the modern philosophies of his era.
And he mentioned Patanjali's view of evolution.
Yes, a more spiritual evolution. Patanjali described it as one species being changed into another by the infilling of nature. like a farmer opening a sluice gate. The water, divinity is already there, you just remove the barrier.
So divinity is inherent, just needs to be revealed.
Infinite already, Vivekananda said, just shut in by bars and bolts. And he argued this view does away with all the struggle for existence.
That's radical. No struggle. What about competition?
He was quite critical of it, said every war has thrown back human progress by 50 years. He saw competition as neither the cause nor the effect, simply things on the way, not necessary to evolution at all.
So progress isn't about winning against others.
Not in this view. It's about inner unfolding, removing those internal bars and bolts, a completely different model of progress.
Okay, if it's not competition, what is the method for gaining this inner knowledge, this unfolding?
Concentration, concentrating the powers of the mind. That's the heart of yoga.
Like focusing attention.
Exactly. For external science, you focus outward on an object. For this internal science, you focus inward, drawing towards oneself.
And the claim is?
Yogis claim that through intense concentration, every truth in the universe becomes evident. You gain direct knowledge.
So if a yogi achieves this, how do they see cosmology then? From the Advaita perspective.
Well, the ultimate Advaita view is that all this cosmology and everything else are only in Maya, in the phenomenal world. In truth, they do not exist.
But they appear real to us now.
They appear real as long as we're within Maya. It's a relative reality. And this doesn't mean Advaita is fighting dualism.
No. How does that work?
Vivekananda saw religion as having stages. 3 steps. First, dualism God is separate. Then, a higher stage, maybe partial non-dualism. And finally, at last he finds he is one with the universe.
So they complement each other.
They do not contradict, but fulfill. Each stage is valid for the person at that stage.
That leads to probably the most persistent question. Why? Why does Maya, why does ignorance even exist?
The ultimate why. And Vivekananda's answer is fascinating. He says the question why itself operates within Maya, within the realm of cause and effect.
So you can't ask why about Maya itself.
You can't ask it from outside Maya. He says Maya is above knowledge. It cannot be brought down to the plane of knowledge to be analyzed like an object.
It's the framework, not something in the framework.
Something like that. And interestingly, he says the personal God, God conceived as a separate being, also belongs to Maya.
But isn't that contradicting the idea of God?
Not quite. He says the personal God is the same absolute seen through Maya. He uses the sun analogy again. Walk towards the sun, and it looks different at different distances, but it's always the same sun.
So different views aren't false, just partial, lower stages of vision.
Exactly. Lower stages, not false visions. And he described 2 ways to approach knowing the absolute directly. A positive way, infinite expansion of love, seeing the divine in everything. And a negative way, Nettie, not this, not this.
Not this, not this.
Yeah, rejecting all concepts, all mental modifications until you reach samadhi, super consciousness, where the observer and observed merge.
Wow. 2 very different sounding paths.
But leading to the same realization of oneness.
This sounds incredibly inclusive. What was the view on other religions, like Christianity, from this perspective?
Vivekananda said the Indian idea of Christian faith was very good. Vedanta aims to take in everyone.
How?
Because the fundamental idea is that your doctrine cannot be mine, or mine yours. Each one must have his own way. This is the concept of the Ishta, the chosen path or chosen ideal.
So respect for individual paths.
Absolutely. And practices vary. He mentioned breathing exercises, meditation, simple prayers like, I meditate on him who is the creator of this universe. May he enlighten my mind. Home worship is key. Temples less central.
And this state of oneness, it's achievable, not just theory.
He insisted it's within actuality. It can be realized. And famously, belief is no part of religion. We say religion is a superconscious state. It's about direct experience.
Direct experience. That connects to another interesting point he made about hypnotism.
Ah, yes, self-hypnotization. He essentially said that what the West calls hypnotism is part of a larger phenomenon. From the Hindu perspective, you are hypnotized already.
Hypnotized by what?
By Maya, by the illusion of duality, of being separate. So the goal isn't hypnotism, but dehypnotize yourself.
How do you do that?
By radical letting go. Throw away even the Vedas. Throw away even the personal God. Throw away even the universe. Throw away even your own body and mind.
Throw everything away conceptually.
You reach a state where nothing apparent remains. And in that absolute stillness, you realize your true nature. I have neither vice nor virtue. I am existence absolute, knowledge absolute, bliss absolute. I am he. I am he.
That's intense. He also touched on things like the astral body.
The linga sharira, yes. Described as fine matter through which the mind and internal organs create another body after death. The mind that makes the body, he said.
And miracles. Yogic powers.
He acknowledged that yogis claim they can do extraordinary things, change their bodies, explain miracles in a scientific way, and that many wonderful things are done in India today, but none of them are done by miracles.
Meaning they have explanations within their framework.
Right. But he stressed the real ideal of the yogi isn't showing off powers, it's eternal peace and love through omniscience and omnipotence.
Omnipotence through love.
Yes, infinite love all the time. And being omnipotent in his power of love, the goal is freedom from being a slave to food, air, relationships, money, fame, everything, liberation from dependency.
That brings us back to freedom. He had a striking take on that too, didn't he? About progress being disobedience.
He did. A very provocative idea. Disobedience to nature that has constituted that progress. Humans aren't content just obeying laws, physical or otherwise. We strive to understand and transcend them, to break limitations.
So life itself is an assertion of freedom.
This life is a tremendous assertion of freedom. And Vedanta, he said, is the assertion of freedom always. Law is just a middle state through which we have to pass.
And ultimately?
Ultimately, freedom is God. Real happiness isn't in finite things. It's found in realizing that infinite freedom, which is God.
But can we even conceive of that ultimate reality?
Not through the mind. He said the real existence is without manifestation. And the mind is a manifestation. You can't use a tool made of Maya to grasp what's beyond Maya.
How can the knower be known?
Exactly. The self, the ultimate subject, can't be turned into an object of knowledge.
So when we talk about individuality, what are we really talking about in Vedanta? It's not this changing personality, is it?
No, not the personality that shifts day to day. Vivekananda stated it very directly. Our individuality is God.
God?
Yes. Individuality is that which changes not, beyond all things changeless. Our true, unchanging essence is that absolute reality.
And consciousness, where does that fit?
He suggested man is a good deal conscious, partly unconscious, and there is a possibility of getting beyond consciousness, into that superconscious state, samadhi.
So freedom, we already have it.
Man has freedom already, but he will have to discover it. He has it, but every moment forgets it.
Yeah.
Everyone is striving for freedom, from the smallest particle to the largest star.
Consciously or unconsciously?
Right. The sage seeks it consciously, knows what they're aiming for. The ignorant person struggles for it unconsciously, maybe seeking it in fleeting pleasures or power. But the underlying drive is the same. Freedom. It's about realizing what you already are.
What an incredibly comprehensive vision. We've gone from the roots of Vedanta, the cosmic cycles, right through to this radical non-dualism and the nature of freedom itself. Vivekananda packed so much into that Harvard address.
He truly did. It's a remarkably coherent and profound system. And if you had to boil it all down, maybe the best summary comes from Vivekananda himself, a statement he often made. Each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest the divinity within by controlling nature, external and internal.
Yeah.
Do this either by work or worship or psychic control or philosophy, by one or more or all these, and be free. That's the core.
And the rest.
This is all of religion. Doctrines or dogmas or rituals or books or temples or forms are but secondary details. The experience, the manifestation, the freedom that's primary.
So we'll leave you, our listeners, with a final, quite challenging thought from Vivekananda. If we could get rid of the belief in our limitations, it would be possible for us to do everything just now.
Powerful.
It's only a question of time. If that is so, add power and so diminish time. Maybe something to reflect on: what limitations, what beliefs about yourself could you begin to question or shed today as you continue your own deep dive?